So then is recognizing Ebonics, could it be damaging in the sense that it may then lead to a catering towards that language? Let me try and explain this clearly. In the sense that if we then say as a society, could it have a reverse effect if we say, we're going to recognize this as a language and trying to figure out how they learn, do we then change society to make those job applications have a form?
Well, that would be an improvement.
Okay.
Because a person speaks with a certain kind of accent or dialect, that doesn't mean he's less intelligent or more intelligent. Y'all come back now, yeah? Or if you go up into the north of this state, North Carolina, up in Piedmont Carolinas, or in north of Asheville, they speak with a very kind of accent and dialect. That doesn't mean they're any smarter or less smarter than anybody else. So what we're missing out on is a whole pool of people who could contribute to American society. We're judging them on the basis of a standard, which is unfortunately a written standard. And of course, yes, if that's the standard, then let's learn it. But I'm smiling because Ebonics enriches America. It enriches the music. Listen to the rappers and the responses they're getting. Listen to the performance poets. It's no accident that jazz was born in my hometown, New Orleans, because what they came in, you could get 5 musicians. When I was coming up playing musicians, you could get 5 musicians who never saw one another, never rehearsed, and we would go out on a gig, and we could play for 3.5 hours without a sheet of music. Why? There were some internalized patterns that came down from the legacy of African culture, which is also sacred. In West African culture, you have deities or spirit forces. They go by the name of Shango, Imanja, Ogun, or Shumare. And they each have a rhythm pattern. For instance, Shango, who's the most powerful god of thunder and lightning, when you hear 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, we call him Shango. And so these patterns, when you got on the gig with 5 musicians, you never rehearsed, the leader would say, B flat shuffle, ice cream on the bridge. And we would play because we have internalized patterns. So we need to get inside of some of those patterns, some of those legacies, traditions, and find out what's there. And it enriches.
How does a dialect or a language like Ebonics compare to, say, Mandarin in China?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you have standard Chinese, you have Mandarin, you have all of these offshoots, just like you have British English, you have Australian English, you have Jamaican English, you have English spoken in Ireland, so you have Black English. And it's just another variety. But what makes Ebonics so special is that it has differences, clear-cut, systematic rules that occur over and over exactly in the same way. And if we understand those rules and differences, we can do something about it. But if we dismiss them, you see, in a condescending, assimilated manner, I have arrived, and therefore I don't want to have anything to do with the downtrodden, these people who speak the way they do. Hello? Some of the most moving moments I've had in the English language came from Ebonics. I used to didn't know you, and I got along fine. Grinaldo Frazier and I made a song out of that, and I can get along without you. Here's another example. Double negative becomes a strong positive. He ain't gonna lay nothing on nobody no more. Now that's Black English, that's Ebonics. He ain't gonna lay nothing on nobody no more, instead of he isn't going to do anything to anyone anymore. See the difference? Mm-hmm. Now, but when he says it in that way, and he says it with a force, it has its own character. It has its own strength. And I don't think we need to dismiss it, but we need to tell the children, okay, that's great. And when you place a value on it and you say that's sloppy, let's say, or it's or you shouldn't speak that way, you're calling the mother sloppy. That's mother tongue. It is not sloppy. It's just different. And what I tell them is save that for your next CD or save that for your next video. But if you want to compete successfully on Wall Street in the mainstream, then you'd better learn standard English, written and spoken.
How do we do that? How do we get both so that we embrace the Ebonics,
yes,
and yet still pursue the standard English? Because it seems like to do one is to reject the other.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
No, they can coexist quite well, and they are coexisting quite well. Look at the record sales. Look at the rappers. Look at hip-hop. And it's crossed over into the mainstream, not only in language, but in dress and behavior. Speaks for itself. It is something that people enjoy, and those things that we enjoy, we should not remove. Imagine if we all came out looking the same, speaking the same. This is a country of diversity, you see, and we shouldn't say because you speak one way, you're inferior. That's where we get into the problem, you see. It is just simply different. It is not a deficit. It is a deficit if you want to pass tests that uses a standard. But keep it, enjoy it. It's something that you should validate and value. It's a mother tongue. It's the language of your culture. And to dismiss it and throw it away, you're losing a lot. I don't think it'll ever go away. But it can coexist peacefully, you see. This brings about the question of what is the difference between performance and behavior. Performance is what you do from 9 to 5. Behavior is what you do from 5 to 9. You look at Wall Street, and the young executives are running out, tearing their ties off because it's 5 o'clock and now they're going to be themselves. So that coexists. And their behavior it's just unfortunate that the norm is one expectation from 9 to 5, 5 to 9 another. So that's what Cannonball meant when he says you have to speak 2 languages just to survive in America.